Last Yom Kippur, I was speaking for this congregation, and we had been sitting there already for many hours. It was late afternoon, and something struck me the first time. I said, "What are we doing? What in the world are we doing?" And they look at us, grown men, pretty much healthy, a little cholesterol problem, but pretty much healthy people. We're sitting here begging God not to kill us.
I totally think that's insane.
Isn't it?
I agree. That's why I don't do it.
So I said, first of all, why do you think you're going to die?
First of all, you are, and
this year.
Well, actually, I really. Okay, let me rephrase that. No, I don't think you're going to die. Period. But anyways, keep going.
Okay. I said, first of all, you really think you're going to die this year because you sinned, and you have to do tshuva and beg God not to kill you because you don't want to die?
That's obviously ridiculous.
Because you don't want to die?
Right.
How about the people who don't come to shul at all? They all going to die?
You're going down those if roads.
Obviously not.
Go ahead.
They don't die. They don't come to shul, they don't die.
I'm with you.
Huh? Okay.
I'm with you.
But more than all of it, if you die, you die. What's your problem?
This is what I said before. You hated that.
Hang on. Death is death. You die. You won't have any problems. And you'll never complain again.
Either you won't even know what's going on, or maybe you really don't die, and
it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. I said Yom Kippur, if you really think about it from a Hasidic angle, Yom Kippur is not I'm afraid to die. Yom Kippur is I'm afraid I'm not going to die. I'm going to have another year, and I don't want to blow it like last year. That's what Yom Kippur is about. If God forbid, God gives me another year of life, that's serious. If I die, I die. But what if I don't? What am I going to do with another year of life? See, that I'm responsible for. If I die, I'm not responsible.
You're not responsible. We already went through this. You said you're not even controlling. The external decisions are not being made. You're not responsible for any of it. So don't go down that road.
You make choices, not out of freedom.
Your neshama does.
That's free choice.
Right.
But you're making choices all the time.
The illusion of choice.
Influence choices.
Yeah.
True.
So it's not your fault. You're not responsible for them. It's not your fault. You agree that. Don't you dare say that you don't agree to that, because you clearly agree to that.
But you
cannot
still
be responsible for stuff that is totally influenced on you.
Yes, I'm not saying you're responsible.
Well, you said you're responsible. You just said it about 2 minutes ago. You said if I'm responsible. You used the word responsible.
Yeah, but I don't mean it in a legal sense. I want this year to be better than last year.
It can be better as soon as you decide you want to make it better.
Exactly.
No, meaning stop worrying about being better, and you'll have a better year. That's the paradox of the whole thing. Stop eating from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, and guess what? You'll have a better year because you'll stop judging everything. You'll stop judging. As soon as you stop judging and accepting for exactly where you are, everything's going to come perfectly for you, and it's all great. It's exactly my point. It's easier to understand with stealing. I'll give it to you like that. It's a very simple idea, right? The whole reason you steal in the first place is you're judging yourself as I need that, so much so that I'm going to steal it from that guy, right? But if you accepted who you really were and the fact that you don't need anything, and you certainly don't need that guy's thing, you'd be totally fine. You would never do the dysfunction.
What would you do?
It would all be perfect. Synchronistic situations would happen to you, and they would play themselves out. Because just like you might be a thief. No, you wouldn't be a thief.
Why not?
The whole reason you'd be a thief is you're in judgment. The idea of bad and good. If I don't believe that stealing is bad and good, then I also don't believe that I'm lacking in anything, because I'm not judging. I'm out of the judgment business. As soon as I get out of the judgment business, number one, it's totally fine if I stole this guy's thing, but at the same time, I have no reason to steal this guy's thing because I judge myself as fine. The whole reason that I wanted to steal in the first place was because I judged myself. As soon as I'm out of the judgment business, I have no need to go steal this thing. So the whole dysfunction dissolves on its own because of the mere fact that I am in total acceptance of what is. That's the paradox. The whole paradox of stealing is, if you didn't really judge yourself as bad for stealing, you also wouldn't judge yourself as needing to steal. Ultimately, you wouldn't steal naturally.
Unless you happen to be there and it just happens to be there, so you take it.
No.
You don't need to steal it, you just steal it.
No, you would only steal. The whole point of stealing for people who steal is they feel a need that they need that. Otherwise, they wouldn't do this thing that everyone says is bad. They're pushing past this social mores to do something bad. As soon as that goes away, it changes everything. There's an acceptance of what you are and what you're not lacking. That lacking is the whole motivation of stealing in the first place. But as soon as you got rid of that whole judgment game, you don't need to take that guy's thing. You're in acceptance whatever comes to you. Guess what? People start giving you stuff. Trust me, it'll happen. As soon as you really get to that level where you're really in tune with the whole thing, you'll see tremendous synchronicity. I promise, I've seen it in my life. Like I said, only in glimpses. But the synchronicities that happen in your life, oh, somebody calls you, oh, you want to go to this, I want to take you to lunch, I want to do, you'll be just fine. You'll be totally taken care of. It's all perfect. And the more you realize that, it all really does become perfect. And all that thing that you thought was dysfunctional just dissolves away.
Yeah, but that means that it's wrong.
No. The whole...
If you were enlightened, you wouldn't do it. Why not?
Because you'd be out of the judgment business. You have to go all the way with me. If you believe that stealing is not bad or good, then
you can either do it or not do it.
True. But then you also have non-judgmental beliefs about yourself as well.
Yeah.
Which means that if you don't have what this guy has, you're totally okay with it because you're in the non-judgment game. So you just naturally don't steal.
But it's just as good if you do take it.
True, but you have no need to get it. The only reason you take it in the first place is because you are judging yourself as lacking. Otherwise, you wouldn't go to the trouble to try to steal somebody else's thing. That's the whole point. Talk to people who steal. They'll tell you deep down they needed it.
They loved stealing.
Okay.
They don't need it.
Okay, of course they don't need it, but my point is they felt they needed it.
No, they thought they loved it.
Okay, same thing. You're saying the same thing, just
so
different words.
So you wouldn't do something you love because you're enlightened?
It's not love. The people don't steal because they love stealing.
They commit adultery because they love it.
They have a deep need inside to feel a certain thing.
Why do you think that? Why is adultery?
Think about, talk to people.
Why is adultery any different than getting married? Married is a need. Adultery is a need.
I don't think there is any problem with it.
So when you reach that enlightened state,
treating other people the way you would want to be treated. If you were married to someone,
whose commandment is that?
I made it up.
Okay, so if all things were...
Listen to me for 2 seconds. This wife of mine, who I love, I want to treat her the way I would want to be treated. So, I know that's going to hurt her, right? So why would I want to do something like that? Why would I want to hurt somebody else's feelings? Now, go with my story, right? Which is, it's totally fine to hurt her, right? It's totally fine to hurt her, right? But at the same time, I would also not have the need to go out and get whatever I'm getting from this thing, the adultery partner, right? Because I'm totally fine. People who are in adultery, they're looking for something they're trying to fill some deep need with this other person, okay?
Or they're just having fun.
No. You're too smart for that. I'm not going to let you go down that road. You know deep down, it's not just fun, okay? People are not just having a good time. There's something going on deep inside them, and usually...
It's the same as getting married. They like getting married, they like committing adultery.
No, I don't. You don't really believe that.
You believe that.
You don't really believe it.
I know that, but you do.
No, I don't.
To you, there's no sin.
It's a paradox. It's a paradox.
Oh. What's the paradox?
Just like this other story, you have to get out of the judgment game 100%. As soon as
if
get
out of the judgment game,
stop stealing. Why do you stop stealing? Because you don't have an incentive to steal anymore. You have no motivation to steal because you're totally in acceptance of who you are. And just like if you were married, you would also feel total acceptance for who you are. I don't need to go get it from someone else. I have everything I need right here.
You don't need her either.
Granted, but if this was part of my story and we came together because I felt something for her, that would be just fine. It's not a bad thing.
Now you meet some other woman and you feel something for her.
Granted. So but I don't need that. I don't need that.
You don't need it. It's just nice.
Okay.
So nice. You would commit adultery for... Because it doesn't make a difference.
I mean, ultimately, I think it's much easier to see the example with stealing. Ultimately, yeah, maybe you're right, and maybe if I really thought about it, if we both cared about each other and really wanted each other to be happy, then maybe this wife would say, you know what, I really want you to be happy. If you need to get something from her, you want to experience this.
Of course she'll say that, because she
fine.
has no needs either.
Fine, I have no problem with that.
So in your picture, it's not that you won't steal. You'll steal and not even feel guilty.
Right, but you wouldn't steal because the whole motivation for stealing is feeling lacking in yourself that you need to get that.
So you'll have a new motivation.
Yeah, exactly. And it won't be that.
Why not?
Because I don't judge myself. As soon as I don't judge myself, I don't need that other person's thing.
But it's there. Why not help yourself?
It's fine, but I don't... Obviously, the world's giving me some blowback on that, right? Okay? If I'm in acceptance, I'm listening to the universe, okay? The universe seems to think that there's some blowback with this whole situation, stealing from other people. I'm fine. I'm totally okay. I don't need his thing. I'm totally fine.
It's not his thing. Nothing matters.
What's stealing.
Yeah, but in the enlightened state, nothing matters.
You're right. That's
Yours,
the paradox.
mine.
That's the paradox. That's why it's a paradox. Its own thing coming back around to create that. That's the whole point of a paradox. That's what it's like. Paradoxically, if I go, I can never actually reach you, because if I go halfway to you, I'm still halfway. Now I go halfway closer to you, keep going halfway. I never reach you because I'm still always halfway to you, right? That's a paradox. It's the same thing. You can't wrap your mind around these ideas. It's a paradox. The whole point, though, is within itself, it creates the whole idea of good and bad creates bad. If no one thought there was anything such a thing as bad, no one would ever do bad. No one would ever even think there was anything bad.
They would do everything and not think it's bad.
Right, and everybody would be just fine with all of it because everybody would be like, hey, it's all good. Just like, remember, there was child molesters in Greece. Everybody thought that was totally normal.
Yeah. But you're saying that if you're enlightened, you don't do that. I'm saying, of course you do. Why would you not do it? There'd be no reason not to do it.
I'll even give you that. Okay, fine. So what? Even if that was true, which I don't think it is, I think you wouldn't do it because the judgment would take that whole motivation away. But even if you did, okay, fine. So you stole something from the guy. Big deal. You're just helping him, in some other scenario.
Okay, so my question is, why, if you don't think there's anything really right or wrong, why do you think that the utopian situation is that you don't steal?
I don't. That's what that's the paradox of this world. I don't really think there is, but it's almost like a hidden thing within the story, kind of. It's the antidote for what you think is bad is the idea that there is no good or bad. That's the antidote for it. Even though you think it's not doing the bad thing. You think it's not doing the bad thing. It's not that. The only way to get back is to stop eating from knowledge of the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
And then you won't do evil.
Then you're back in perfection.
And then you won't do evil.
There is no such thing as evil.
You're
just totally attuned with what is.
Right.
And it's all just going to synchronistically happen for you.
Right. So whoever you sleep with doesn't make a difference.
Nobody tried that hard in Gan Eden.
So whoever,
right? Was there any toiling?
Was
there any toiling in Gan Eden?
They were only there for one day. They didn't give it a chance.
No, you said the whole story is there's no toiling. You had to work once you were cast out.
Yeah.
There was no work. There was no work. You know why? Because it was all coming right to them. It was fine. Everything synchronistically happened perfectly.
Let's get this clear. In your utopian position, in your utopian world,
you're mixing worlds, but keep going.
Will there be adultery or not? Or will it be adultery, but nobody will care?
It could go either way. It could go either way. I don't know.
In other words, amoral.
I don't know how it would go. It could be that everyone would be totally okay with adultery, or it could be you just wouldn't need to do it. I think it would probably be the latter, but again, I'm just conjecturing there. But it wouldn't matter anyways because everybody would be okay with it.
So there is a bit of a contradiction there.
Which is
that in this world it doesn't make a difference whether it's right or wrong. There is no good and bad. In a perfect world, there wouldn't be a difference whether there's good or bad. So what makes that world perfect?
No, I'm saying the definition of what is perfect because whatever created this whole thing is perfect.
So why do you need to have an enlightened world? It's perfect as it is.
I agree.
So what's the enlightened world better?
It's not better.
So why are you trying to become enlightened?
I'm not trying to become enlightened. I'm not trying to become enlightened. Everything's fine. I don't need to be enlightened.
So
I was just giving you an example in your world, but there's nothing wrong. Everything the way it is totally fine. You're not missing the boat. I'm not missing the boat. We're both doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. That's why we're doing it.
and if you were in contact with your real self, would that be any different?
You can't not be in contact with your real self. This thing that put me into, this thing that created the construct of what you call the outside influences deciding what you do, is what it wanted to do from the beginning. There's no mistakes. There are no mistakes. There are no mess ups. This is a perfect world. God created it. Ein od milvado. That's all there is. It can't be, by definition, it can't be a mistake. There are no mistakes. The Holocaust was not a mistake. You think it was a mistake?
Of course not.
Okay. So you're with me. This is perfect. Nothing to worry about. You want to go steal? Go steal. Have a great time. It's fine. I personally, not a big fan. But you want to go do it? Fine. You think you have to have 14 kids? Have 14 kids. I don't want to. But you do, so you keep going. It's all good. Perfect. All of it.
So I don't know what you were saying before.
Which is?
Which is that if we reached the real state of enlightenment, nobody would steal.
I was using...
Oh, you were just playing my game.
Yeah, I'm inside your construct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking you into the paradox and the ironies of your construct. Just like that story of the Gan Eden. I don't believe there's really a story of Gan Eden or any of that stuff. But I'm playing it, I'm saying the hidden ironies are even in your own stories. They're telling you something that you're missing the point on. You think 99% of the Orthodox Jews are totally missing the point about Judaism. And I'm saying you guys are also missing the point of the obvious story. It's like so freaking obvious. It's right in front of your head. Don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Something's bad about knowing about good and evil.
I have a different version of the story.
I know you do, but
you don't know what it is, though.
Of course I don't, and I'm sure it's going to be creative, and it's not going to be the normal one. I can promise you that.
That's right.
Okay, I can tell you that's for sure going to.
That's why I like your version too. It's original.
I know it's not. I know it's not going to be the one I heard before. I know your story already.